What's up, guys? It's Dennis here with Stick Mobility. The other day, my buddy Justin came in and said that his mid-back was hurting him. And I said, well, what have you been doing the last 3 or 4 days or so? And he said his volume on his kettlebell snatches had greatly increased due to his training program. Plus, he also works at another facility where he's teaching group classes. So he was demonstrating kettlebell snatches every class. So obviously his volume increased. So in the motion coming up, this whole abdominal cylinder glutes have to be able to act together synergistically to prevent that weight, to stop it so it prevents it from going backwards and pulling you into that hyperextension. If this deep, superficial and deep front line does not work, then your posterior chain is going to have to make up for the slack. So what I did for him is I said, okay, well, let's take the stick, had him set his feet pretty close together, bring the base of the stick back towards you so that as you push down on the stick, it will match and mimic that natural backswing of your arms. Okay. From here, I just had him take a nice, easy split stance, keep the back heel up, and then we had him stack his hands. So his hands are stacked at chest level. From this position, I had him just gently push the stick into the floor. I want him to engage the lats and pull the scapula down towards your butt. We're then going to take this back glute, we're going to squeeze it, push the foot into the floor harder, squeeze the glute, and give a little bit of a posterior pelvic tuck. All right? As we give that little bit of posterior pelvic tuck, we then bring more activation into that deep front line. From here, we just had him hold it, and I only had him irradiate at about 40%, nothing too major since he was pretty sore through the mid-back. Right? From here, once he was engaged and he felt everything turned on, I actually had him move the back leg down so he could change the angle of the hips. I still wanted him to keep that posterior pelvic position, but I wanted him to elevate and move the foot so that way we could start to make sure that this was still activated through actual motion instead of actually just keeping it static. So I had him hold it statically first for about 10 seconds, and then I had him slowly start to move that back leg. As you can see, as I move my back leg, I'm actually changing the angle of my front leg also. So we're getting a little bit more split of the hips, maintaining that posterior pelvic tilt. Had him do about 4 reps, then switch legs and repeat. So it's a great way once you get set, engage, push down, you'll feel everything start to fire, and then that way, as he starts to go up overhead, then this is now back to being activated, and it can help decelerate and stop the motion of the kettlebell coming up overhead. Hey guys, it's Dennis again with Stick Mobility. Just building off of what we just addressed last time with resetting and making sure that the front line is activated. We're going to go posterior side. So addressing the same issue that we discussed with Justin in the last video. Once I had him make sure that the front line was activated, I want him to also do the same thing but driving upwards so that way he gets the posterior side activated, balance it out and strengthen it and lock it down. So we had him take the same position, except the stick is going up into a fixed point above him as opposed to down on the floor. So here the hands are set right at about sternum level, head is up. I instructed him to push the stick up into the anchor point at the same level of intensity of irradiation, about 30–40%. All right. Once he locks that down, we push the foot into you'll feel the foot push into the floor. We want to activate the glute, give that little bit of posterior pelvic tilt. Everything is activated. We push, we hold that statically for about 10 seconds. Once we've held that statically, we then put some movement into it by dropping that back heel up and down. And as you're pushing up, as opposed to pushing into the ground, as you're pushing up, you're going to feel a lot more hamstring and, like I said, in that glute area, posterior chain, So not only did we want to address the anterior, but we also want to address the posterior and help that recover also. Stick mobility, movement made better.